Hello, I'm William Longfellow, and welcome to Let's Play Super Mario Kart Pro Edition. Today I'll be racing the Star Cup with tiny Koopa Troopa, and it is difficult. I've had to practice a lot to be able to pass this at all. And this track here is probably the most difficult in the cup, because I have to race extremely consistently. Along each of these stretches of shallow water I have to pass them so, by starting off with a drift and then releasing the accelerator, and that way I decelerate as little as possible. And I also have to avoid the Cheep Cheeps that are bouncing around in the water. Now I'm getting a little lucky because that Cheep Cheep is hanging around on the left side of the big stretch of shallow water, and that's the most annoying one. Sometimes, and if the Cheep Cheep is more centrally placed, I have to decide whether to drift to the left or to the right as I cross that stretch of shallow water, but fortunately I haven't had to make that choice. This is going better than it usually does, actually. And if I make even the slightest mistake, and there are plenty of places to make big and small mistakes here, Luigi will catch up and it becomes all the more difficult. It's very hard to catch up to anybody on this course. I usually need items to do so. A mushroom's really helpful. It can take me across the longest stretch of shallow water easily. The first time I tried this with tiny Koopa Troopa, I already had reservations about whether I'd be able to clear the Star Cup. I was thinking to myself, maybe I should just, cop out and use tiny Bowser or something, or just end it with the large characters, because I wasn't really sure whether I'd be able to do it with tiny Koopa Troopa. And I played the course for the first few times, and I was shaking my head with thoughts of, what have you gotten yourself into? For symmetry's sake, you want to use all these characters, but this really might not be possible for you. But I was able to practice my way through that Koopa Beach course, and that's the hardest one in the cup. And this one's the easiest one. The other three are still rather difficult for a tiny character. Now here I'm making distance as I did, even with a large character on this course. The AI here is really quite loose. Even with tiny Koopa, I don't think I've ever gotten less than first place here. Even if I go on adventures, like if I get crushed in the first lap or something stupid like that, I can just catch up by racing as normal and taking that little shortcut into the finish line. One thing I have realized with tiny Koopa Troopa is that while I said in the Super Mario Kart Let's Play that the important thing is keeping up your speed, it matters less with Koopa than it does with the other characters. It matters a lot with Koopa in the Koopa Beach course, actually. If I don't keep up my speed, then the computers will catch up. But in some of the other courses, it's a matter of taking the right path and just managing to keep a decent speed most of the time. I've had to adjust my priorities a little bit when racing here. But that doesn't come into play really on this course. As long as I race it at all decently, I can finish in first place here. Koopa has a very relaxing victory song here. It's the kind of song I'd like to sort of lie down on Koopa Beach and listen to. It's funny that Koopa Beach is Koopa's hardest course here. I would think he'd have a bit of a home stage advantage, but I do better on this ice-filled stage, which is probably not where a tropical turtle would live. Anyways, this is tricky, especially on the first lap when stuff like that happens. But it's one of the easier courses to catch up on. You can always catch up by taking that turn tight and on the inside, and this one provides some opportunities to catch up to the computer also. And if I'm concerned about being crushed by the computers, there I used my green shell defensively to keep Princess from crushing me, but if I'm concerned about passing computers right on this stretch, I can go to the left of that little block of ice blocks. Now that I'm in first place, though, it should be a lot more comfortable. And I'm really glad to have Luigi as my main opponent, because he's not going to be throwing stuff at me. and that makes things much easier. Now right here is tricky because of that, basically. The computers take it rather fast, and I have trouble taking it as fast as I could. Now the best way would be to sort of start a drift while I'm in the middle of those two sections of ice blocks. And sometimes I succeed at doing that, but other times I slime into the ice blocks, and that's the last thing that I want to do. So instead I go just a little bit more slowly, and I turn manually. I don't drift out of those ice blocks. And what sometimes happens is I take it a little too wide, and then the computers come racing by on the inside and crush me. Now here is the second hardest course in this cup. It's probably the hardest for a large character. It's still quite hard for a tiny character. I have to race extraordinarily consistently here. I do the same trick of bumping against the wall as I did last time I did this course, sorry. But fortunately, I'm using a character with a more narrow turning radius, so I don't have to bump against walls as much. It is rather unpleasant to hear Luigi buzzing around right behind me. That always worries me, even though I know that I can race a little bit faster than him. It just puts the pressure on. Now what I'm doing is, once I get these bananas or green shells, I like to lay them and hope that they hit Luigi. And that way he'll fall behind and make things a little bit easier. I like having space around my character. Just makes me a little more at ease. See, bump against this wall. See, Luigi is right behind me. He was using a star power, so I don't think I would have been able to hit him at all there. Now, Yoshi has fallen behind a little bit, so if I manage to nab Luigi, then I'll be in the clear for a while. Oopsies. I hit the wall the wrong way there, so I'm playing catch up here. Fortunately, I still have some distance in front of Yoshi, so I don't have to worry too much. Oopsies. I was hoping to use that mushroom to blast ahead of Luigi there, but I messed up a little bit, and now I find myself in a bit of a tight place. Ooh, I avoided that banana by just a little bit. I'm gonna have to use all of my Kart Fu skills here to pass Yoshi there. And I'll finish second place on this course. And that's pretty good. I'm usually happy to finish second or third place in either this or the Koopa Beach course. Just being able to clear it is somewhat of an accomplishment. I had to practice this one quite a bit before being able to pass it also, although not as much as the Koopa Beach course. That one threw me into the most despair. And on this course, you'll see me doing a few more gimmicks. I like to take that turn that way. This is a lot where the speed doesn't matter as much with Tiny Koopa. That principle comes into play. So I did a little gimmick there, and as I come across this loop, instead of taking it normally, I do that. Pound against the wall a little bit, and come across it like that. And Luigi missed his loop. That makes things a bit easier for me. Even if I finish like 4th place, I'll still win the cup. Because Luigi doesn't have enough time to catch up there, even for the rest of the race. Now what's ideal is to be able to hit the corner, hit it once and then already be accelerating towards the speed boost that takes me over to the other side. And that shortcut there is good for cutting off computers that get ahead of me. I can also go on the sand right here if I want to avoid the computer. It's really not any faster than taking the track, but it's an alternate path and gets me away from the computers. I'm doing pretty bad at passing those pipes. Now I laid that banana down on Yoshi, and that was a pretty good move there. But you can actually get a pretty good boost if you drift through those pipes correctly, but I'm having a little bit of trouble doing it with Koopa. I think with a wider turning radius I would have an easier time. Now, bumping into the side of that little square on the loop there is not too much faster than taking the loop normally, but it does mean that I don't have to worry about computers catching up to me quite as much. I do have to worry about, like, Donkey Kong Jr. right there. Now he had a very slow time around that loop, but there we go. Just avoided the banana. If I hit the banana, I may well have lost. Yeah, if I didn't complete the race as fast as Toad there, and if I hit the banana peel and got crushed right afterwards, that would be a very bad thing for me. But I raced successfully, and I am in first place here. It was quite a difficult thing for me to do, and I'll be seeing you next time. I'll be taking on the Special Cup with Tiny Mario. I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.